Grade 5 English Lesson 2 The Nuclear Test, written by Lalitha SRIDHAR. Amma, why are you removing all my things from the cupboard? Anjali asked in a voice which sounded like she was ready for a fight. You already know, Anjali. Dada and Dadi are going to need some place for keeping their things, her mother replied firmly without any apology. But Ma, where will my things go? This has been my room since I was a baby. Why should I give up everything just because Dada and Dadi are coming to live with us? Cried Anjali. Come on, Anju. You are not giving up everything. You are only going to sleep on the couch in the hall instead of in this room. And your things can be accommodated elsewhere, replied her mother, trying to be sensitive but feeling angry with her daughter's objections. This is how it had been ever since Anjali had been told that her grandparents would be living with them from now on. They had recently sold off their land in the little village where they had lived most of their life. Dada was nudging 70 now and was too old to be able to run the farm all by himself. He had promised he would not leave his beloved land till he dies, but he was finding it more and more difficult to live there alone. All his children had migrated to the cities. 2 of Anjali's Chachajis were abroad. Only Papa lived in Pune and Rita Bua was in Delhi. Dada had been persuaded by Anjali to come and live with them. Papa wanted all of them to be together as a joint family. He could then take care of his aging parents. Of course, Anjali enjoyed meeting her grandparents during her holidays, but that did not mean she was going to be happy giving up her room for them. Anjali was an only child. Never in her life had she liked sharing anything, and she wasn't ready to change now. And so it was that when her grandparents came, Anjali was her fussy, irritating, and brattish worst. She made a big hue and cry over how she had lost her room. When she wasn't making rude comments, she would not talk much and pretended to be glued to her favorite program on the TV. She was not very polite and complained, though not directly, for she was afraid of her father's wrath. It was true, having grandparents living with them needed adjusting to a new routine. They were used to a different way of life. They woke up much before anyone else did, and that made things awkward. Dadi was forever doing some puja or the other, and if there was an objection to onions in the food one day, it was eggs the next. They would not go with them to eat out in restaurants. They would not watch movies in theaters. They would not enjoy shopping just for fun. They thought strap dresses were too foreign and short skirts totally avoidable. Pop music was noise and ice creams were not good for health. The one thing they did share was an addiction to television, but the programs they watched put Anjali to sleep. Anjali felt as if she had suddenly been in prison. The house, all 850 feet of anger mellowed into a guarded truce. It was impossible to remain angry with someone who was so kind. Dadi stopped commenting on her clothes and even brought her a pretty t shirt when they went sightseeing. TV became a divided schedule of the most favorite program on individual list. Dada helped Anjali with her projects and he was a big help with the math syllabus. He also got Anjali into the habit of reading the newspaper and they would exchange world views when he walked with her to the bus stop every morning. Anjali's mother worked in an office and she left along with her father every morning. Breakfast was always cornflakes and it was usually sandwiches for Anju's lunchbox. And when her mother got back in the evening, she was so exhausted herself that cooking was never a great activity. But now Dadi had taken over the kitchen. She actually said she was getting bored of doing nothing. Dadi was a fantastic cook. Suddenly, they were being pampered with the most divine parathas and sabzi, mithai and pakoras, salads and pickles. Anjali's mother could now slow down a little and rest her feet. She even had more time for her daughter. She was also immeasurably reassured that her child was in the most caring hands possible. Till one day, when the grandparents announced, "We are thinking of going to Rita's place for a while." Before anyone could say anything, Anjali burst out, "Oh, can I have my room back then? Dada Dadi, when are you going?" The silence that followed was terrible, and only Dadi had some kind and general words to fill it with. Later, apart from her room, Anjali got the worst scolding she deserved, and in 2 days' time, they were a nuclear family again. But the silly TV. Talk to. Her mother was again overworked with no time for anything or anybody. But most of all, the noise and bustle of one big happy family had faded into silence. The house, all 850 feet of compact space planning, looked too big. When the phone rang the following night, just like they had expected it would, it was Anjali who ran and picked up to say, "Dada Dadi, when are you coming back?"